Fashionable. I'm here live at Tomini Classics. I'm here with the sales manager, Assyl. How are you?
Fantastic. How's it going?
Very well indeed. You've got some delight for your eyes. Here behind you, quite a number of cars that I'd personally like to own. Tell me about Tomini as a brand and as an organization.
Well, what happened is about 7 years ago, our chairman bought a Jaguar E-Type from auction. The snowball got bigger, wanted another one, got a Daytona, first generation Countach. And then it became, right, okay, I'll have my own collection, make it a business at the same time, drive them, love them, share them. And that last point is quite important to us as well. Sharing these cars with people in this part of the world, because you don't really see them.
Not at all. I mean, it's quite common here in Dubai and the UAE to find, your Lamborghinis, your Ferraris, your awesome automobiles. But it's perhaps a little bit more rare to see some classic cars out on the road. So having all of these classic cars all under one roof really is a delight for our eyes.
Yeah, and you see quite a few classic American cars here, but the classic European cars not so much. And so we are quite proud of our modest little 100-car strong collection. But stuff like the Toyota 2000 GT, the 300 SL Gullwing. It's properly special stuff. Yeah, it's a petrol head's heaven, I think. When people want to come visit Dubai, don't go to Burj Khalifa, don't go to Wild Wadi and all that. Come to Tomini Classics. Yeah, it's a spectacle. I like to see it as a real spectacle, and it's a business at the same time.
Totally. If I could ask you to pick out maybe three of the top cars that you have here that are your personal favorite, what would you say those would be?
I already have a list because I'm a male. Number one is the F40 behind me. No questions asked, no arguments. To drive an F40, it's an out-of-body, astonishing experience. There are cars that are faster, there are cars that are more comfortable. Almost every car in the world is more comfortable. I mean, the list of luxuries in an F40 is air conditioning. That's it. You've got strings to open the doors, but you feel everything on the road, and it's a fantastic experience.
Second car?
Car number two would be the green 2.7 RS Porsche from 1973. Again, no holds barred, no luxuries whatsoever, but you feel absolutely everything. The car grows on you exponentially. It's amazing. Fantastic automobile. Number three is tougher. Number three is probably the Lamborghini Espada. It's the under-the-radar Lamborghini. It's a love or hate looks. but a fantastic Grand Tourer and just full of personality. Full of personality. Yeah, very special car.
I'd choose just one.
Which one's that?
Porsche 959. At one stage, it was fastest road car in the world ever, and I remember when it first came out, I fell in love with it, and it's never waned.
Yeah. Well, the 959 was what everyone keeps calling a technological tour de force. I mean, it had technological elements that we take for granted even today, whereas back then this is a car from the future. And your number one was the fastest car in the world until my number one came along. And having driven both, the 959 is very special, and it's more usable, and it's a better car. But for me, the F40 is better because the F40 is worse. Don't know if that makes much sense, but the F40 is there's nothing in there. There's absolutely nothing. But as a driving experience, I would prefer the F40. But 959, immense respect. They did things that, again, 20, 30 years later, we think, phenomenal machine, and goes like stink. The turbocharged era. Cars are turbocharged today as well, but they're trying to get rid of turbo lag. Turbo lag is basically you accelerate and then nothing's happening, and then whoosh, you get thrown into the horizon. Whereas now technology's trying to remove that, but I think that's a shame. It's nice to get a nice surprise.
And what can we expect from the brand in the future? What can we expect from yourselves in the future?
We're still going to be loving cars. We're still going to be getting the best cars we can. We're still going to be driving them, respecting them, adoring them. And it's going to be business as usual. Selling cars is the main target. But more of the same. But as the times change, you have younger generations who grew up with different cars are affecting the market. So it's the younger stuff that's really starting to climb. It's the younger stuff that's being more demanded as well. So changes in the future, potentially some. There's a chairman there driving by in one of his classics. He's coming in. Changes in the future, probably a few more younger cars, more modern cars.
You've got a few customer cars as well here. So the relationship with your customers is one built from longevity, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, we invest in relationships as well. So once someone does purchase a car from us, it's white glove service. We can store the cars for them, as some customers have done. We have 5 cars in storage now. Optimal conditions. The cars are run frequently. They're hooked up to a trickle charger. It's sort of the perfect place for a car to hibernate as our storage room. We love our customers. So far, so good. We haven't had anyone difficult. Everyone's just been lovely. And they love the cars. They love the cars, and they love coming here. Because every time you come here, you either see some new stuff that you didn't see before, or you see that the gallery floor has changed completely, much like you have.
Totally.
Or you see cars that you didn't remember you saw last time because there are so many of them.
Totally,
About 90 cars in the building, so it's easy to forget that we had the XJ220 or the Lancia Stratos that was on a lift somewhere. And,
I'm going to take a look at the XJS 220 as well. That's one of my favourite cars. If I was going to choose a second one, it'd probably be that. And if I was going to choose the third, it'd probably be the DB behind you. I love that.
The DB6 is wonderful. That it's proper British. You feel that 6-cylinder engine is just pulling you off into the road. It's a very special car. I drove that for a whole day recently for an Aston Martin event. Wonderful. XJ220, it moves. It's called 220 because it hit 220 miles an hour, and it looks like a snake. It's a fantastic. It's a special car as well. Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for taking the time to talk with us. Absolute pleasure. Love what you're doing, and long may it continue.
You're very kind. Too kind. Thank you, sir. Much obliged. Tomini Classics, this is fashionable.